Alright folks, in this video we're going to talk about the first difference. I'm just going to abbreviate this, first difference, and we're going to talk about the second difference. Again, I'm just going to abbreviate here. Okay, the first difference and the second difference are both mathematical ways to figure out, in the case of the first difference, to figure out velocity. And in the case of the second difference, we're trying to figure out acceleration. Okay. So the key to the first and second differences is you need something to take the difference with. In other words, you need something to subtract, right? That's another word for subtraction, difference. So let's make up, a set of data here. And data table, and I'm going to extend it out to a few more columns than we might think is necessary. And in this first column, I'm going to write time, T for time, and then I'll write D for distance. Oops, and I kind of deleted the T there. And then over here, I'm going to have V for velocity, or first difference, and I'm going to have A for acceleration. Now, in our data chart, let's draw it out a couple of lines here. This should be enough. Let's say we measured time 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and our distances were, and I'm just going to make up some distance. Let's say at time 0 is 0, and then at time 1 it was 1, and then at time 2 it was 4, and then 9, and then 16. Okay, this could be some data you collected. Maybe you were dropping a ball or something. Well, if you wanted to figure out the velocity, right, without using any kind of equation or anything, and you had this data table all nice and set up, what you could do is you could take the first difference. And actually the first difference is as easy as this. You take the first two distances, and you subtract them and put them into this column. So in this case, all I do is 1 minus 0, and that is, let me write that in green, 1, right? And then to take the next first difference, I would do 1 and 4, so 4 minus 1 is 3. Okay, pretty easy, right? 9 minus 4 is 5, and 16 minus 9 is 7. Okay, let me draw those arrows there for us. Right? So I subtracted 9 and 4, and I subtracted, 16 and 9 to get 7. Now notice, right, that I don't put anything in this first box because there's nothing to subtract 0 with. There was no data before this, right? So in my velocity, I've kind of lost one, cell of data here, and that's okay. And now, let's say we want to calculate the second difference, or acceleration. It's actually just going to be the same thing, right? But notice, okay, I have nothing to subtract here. This is just a blank box. Unfortunately, 1 minus a blank box, that's nothing for us, so we have to cross that out. But here we go. What is 3 minus 1? Well, that's pretty easy to do. We just end up with 2. What's 5 minus 3? Well, again, I end up with 2, and 7 minus 5 is 2, right? So in the case of this data, what I noticed, right, was that the acceleration, stayed constant, was always 2, 2, 2. The velocity, changed. I always added 2 to the velocity. And the distance, certainly changed, but, with each jump changed even more, right? The first time, after the first second, I only went a distance of 1. After the second second, I went a distance of 3. After the third, 5. After the fourth, 7. And so this just illustrates here how we take the first difference, which represents velocity, and the second difference, which represents acceleration.